Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Bobby Hajjaj. He is the chairman of Nationalist Democratic Movement. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
So, how are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing really fine. So, sir, we are here to talk about India and Bangladesh relation today. So, I hope we will have a beautiful discussion regarding this session.
Sure, yes.
Sure. So we have been passing a critical phase. We have an interim government right now, and through this phase, we have been facing some critical challenges in the country because there is no elected government right now. So interim government is playing the role. So as we know that for a long time, India and Bangladesh has been sharing a very beautiful internal relationship. So do you think this relationship can be restored?
Okay, sure. First and foremost, for almost a decade and a half, the relationship between India and Bangladesh has been on an uneven keel. We have a long history, obviously. There was a time when you couldn't separate what is today India and what is today Bangladesh, sort of all of Bengal and, sort of all of the subcontinent. But from 71 onwards, our relationships have gone through, India-Bangladesh relationship has gone through many ups and downs. Right now is the lowest the relationship has ever been. And the reason for that is the last 15 odd years during the Sheikh Hasina regime, the relationship between India and Bangladesh were not really a relationship based on, sort of two states, but it was a relationship between a state and a person. So the India-Bangladesh relationship dynamics was run through India, the state, and Sheikh Hasina, the person. And Sheikh Hasina, the person, made a lot of sacrifices for India, in a manner of speaking, that actually didn't work for the people of Bangladesh. So most of the policies that were made during that 15 and a half year tenure is questionable of sort of how good it might be for the people of Bangladesh. So there might not have been strife between India and Bangladesh for 15 and a half years, but the reason there wasn't strife was because India was getting everything it wanted, Bangladesh was getting nothing, and the government of Bangladesh was not concerned with getting nothing. So the people of Bangladesh were not being represented. So when Hasina fell, first and foremost, it was a bit of a shock to the India-Bangladesh relationship because the relationship was maintained through the person, Sheikh Hasina. Also, Sheikh Hasina fled to India. Sheikh Hasina is in India right now. And it's not just Sheikh Hasina who's in India right now. Everybody who worked for Sheikh Hasina, everybody who thought, sort of under proper rule of law, they would be at risk because they had broken the law sort of in cahoots with Hasina, her government, and its criminal activities. So all of them fled to India. Right now, if you look at Kolkata, there are probably a few hundred, Awami League leaders right now in Kolkata. So that has an impact. Also, the people of Bangladesh, their antipathy, if you will, towards the Indian government, not India, the country, not the Indian people, but the Indian government that supported Sheikh Hasina for 15 and a half years, that antipathy in the people of Bangladesh is pretty high, and with good reason. They are aggrieved that the government helped Hasina do all of those things that she did for 15 and a half years, and obviously sort of the mass murders of July 2024. So all of that put together, the grievances here and the change in relationship there, and the way the BJP government in India played it, Godi media, as they're called. Godi media has, since last August, September, has started a huge disinformation and misinformation campaign against Bangladesh. Even today, if you look at many of the BJP-backed media in India, you will see it'll seem like Bangladesh every day a coup is happening, a military coup is happening. Every day, hundreds of thousands of religious minorities are being attacked or brutalized, and none of this is true. So, as I said, all of those led to the very, very poor relations that India and Bangladesh have right now. Having said that, India is very important for Bangladesh. Bangladesh is covered on all sides by India, even the oceans. It's really after Bay of Bengal, it's all of India. And also for India, Bangladesh is very important. Bangladesh is in the belly of India. Bangladesh is inside, in many ways, India. So trading partners, India needs us as a trading partner. We need India as a trading partner. defense, India needs us for its defense, we need India for our defense. So anything, any way you look at it, for Bangladesh, India is important, for India, Bangladesh is important. So it is really just pragmatic politics that we need to get over whatever happened from Bangladesh's side, from our side. We need to get over our grievances. We have been wronged, but just holding on to those wrongs is not going to build a better future for Bangladesh. Our focus now is building a better future for Bangladesh. Similarly, India might be aggrieved that, we don't like India, but that's because India was instrumental in supporting Hasina. Now, India has a rationale here. India would say, we didn't do anything to the people of Bangladesh. It was Hasina, your leader. Fair enough, but they empowered Hasina. So India has grievances as well. Fair enough, but even for India, Bangladesh is very important. So we hope that even during the tenure of this interim government, and we believe the Honorable Chief Advisor is trying, and we've had information from the Foreign Ministry of India that they want to improve these relations as well. So we hope over the over the tenure of this year, over the next 8-10 months, things will improve massively. And the next elected government, whoever may it be, even if it is us, we will obviously work very hard to improve relations with India. But one thing has to be set in stone. We will never go back to the type of relations that Bangladesh and India had during Hasina's tenure. Bangladesh is never going to be servile to another country again.
So how do you think Bangladesh can be proactive to counter the propaganda that is being spreaded over in the social media and satellite media by the Indian media?
First and foremost, people in Bangladesh are not really influenced by these rumors. They are aggrieved by these disinformation and misinformation campaigns. India, over the last 10 years at least, if not more, has been very adept at running disinformation and misinformation campaigns. There are proper statistics that a large chunk of anti-Muslim disinformation campaigns are run out of India and Israel and whatnot, but India is one of the bastions of that. So it's not surprising that when Hasina was ousted and India-Bangladesh relations changed, these sorts of things would come out of India. So they did, and they started, and they're still going on. The problem from our end is that our global information mechanism or global information dissemination mechanism that Bangladesh has is not very strong. We're not very strong on social media. We're not very strong international language media. We don't do English, French, German, or any other. We're not focused on international language media. So when BBC is doing news or looking for news, when CNN is looking for news or Al Jazeera is looking for news, it's easy to grab onto some tweets or something that some Indian specialist or Indian journalist has tweeted, or news that has has been circulated through the Indian media. And a large chunk of the Indian media now is Godi media. So from our side, and I have personally had these conversations with the interim government, including the Honorable Chief Advisor, and I think many others have, that we need to strengthen our space in global media. We need to start officially fighting these disinformation campaigns. We need to reach out to global media, outlets and provide fact checks. Like you said, your channel is fact check. So provide these proper fact checks on all of the things that Godi media is disseminating globally, and also maybe take the support of NRB Bangladeshis. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of NRB Bangladeshis who who are well versed in international languages, and they are on social media. So we can use their support to push the truth as our narrative globally.
So we have been experiencing a significant limitation by the Bangladeshi media, that Bangladesh media is not very much familiar with the English news coverage or English media coverage, or any other languages, international languages are lacking in Bangladeshi media coverages. So how do you think this limitation can be solved?
Well, not much. The Bangladeshi media really can't do much, because the media is really, media works with market dynamics. So, you have a television channel or you have a newspaper, you're looking for readership. And most, audiences, viewers or readers are comfortable in Bengali. So local media is not going to be very influential in international media. But what I did suggest to the government, and what we aim to do further, is increase from the government's end our capacity to respond to these disinformation campaigns. So, Al Jazeera does, when Indian media goes around spreading rumors or disinformation about Bangladesh that minorities are being slaughtered, Al Jazeera has an interest in Bangladesh. CNN, BBC, Times of New York, whatever, all of them, they have interest in Bangladesh. At that point in time, they do seek counter narratives from Bangladesh. It's just that from Bangladesh, we can't provide it to them. So we need the government to be more vigilant in providing these counter narratives to the global media. If they can do that, and also the social media sphere, where, as I said already, use the support of our NRBs, then I think in a large measure, we can counter the misinformation and disinformation campaigns that are running out of India.
So there are some influential people who are spreading this misinformation in a vast majority of principle. I should say, I can name someone like Nitu Mojumdar. He is doing a tremendous misinformation. He is spreading a lot, and he is placing false information regarding Bangladesh to the Indian media. And we think this is a risk for Bangladesh's security. What do you think? Do you think this way?
But first and foremost, the disinformation is really based out of Indian media houses. That's what we need to counter. The name you just named, these are silly, unimportant, irrelevant people. They have no value anywhere. Indian media houses or Godi media houses, they need to put a name or a face to their narrative. If you didn't have this particular character, they'd pick somebody else. They'd pick some Kuddu, some Lablu, some Kodlu. It doesn't matter. So the person you just named has no relevance anywhere in the world. These are irrelevant people. It doesn't matter. We have to focus on countering the disinformation. So, people who have fled, people who were part of Hasina's regime, like Arafat or somebody else, these people, they're irrelevant now. They are worthless. So we shouldn't waste our time thinking about them, talking about them. Obviously, they should be put behind bars. So if ever they have the temerity to come back to Bangladesh, they'll have to face the full force of the legal system. But apart from that, they are not our concern. Our concern is how to counter this disinformation.
So the foreign ministers of two countries, Bangladesh and India, they have met already twice. But Mr. Narendra Modi and Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, they haven't sat together yet. How do you picturize this?
There have been talks that they might meet very soon at the BIMSTEC conference in Thailand. I hope that they do. I know that Narendra Modi's government the BJP government has a very specific stance on Bangladesh, or has had one for a very long time. But again, this is geopolitics, it's international relations. End of the day, pragmatic policy making has to prevail. And pragmatic policy making says Narendra Modi needs to have a conversation with the leader of Bangladesh, which is currently our Honorable Chief Advisor, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. So sooner or later they will talk. There were discussions about the most senior level meetings, sort of between the Indian Prime Minister and the Bangladesh leader of the government, even earlier on, a few months ago. But I think those talks were postponed because India, time and again, sort of responded with that we want to sit with an elected government. Now that elections, we're not yet sure when elections are going to be. Maybe they'll sit soon. But more importantly, I think even from India-Bangladesh relations standpoint, an election becomes very important, because every government, be that the US government, sort of German, UK, Chinese, any government, they all want to work with a stable government, which is an elected government. So given the state of India-Bangladesh relations, I think Modi would still sit with our Honorable Chief Advisor, and I think our Honorable Chief Advisor is very open to sitting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But it's also incumbent upon us to push for an elected government so that we can start forging long-term relationships based on long-term policies.
Yeah. So our current Chief Advisor of the interim government, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. So he's a Nobel laureate, and he has tremendous coverage within the world because he is an extraordinary economist, and he has been playing a tremendous role all over the country, and he's one of our prides. But in terms of politics, in terms of managing the current government of Bangladesh, what do you think? Is he being able to successfully operate a government keeping pace with international politics? What do you think?
Well, that's not really his job. Bangladesh was in a critical situation after the July, sort of mass movement, and we needed somebody to take the helm. And we all almost unanimously picked Dr. Muhammad Yunus to take over as sort of the chief advisor, to take over the leadership of the government. And it is our good fortune that he consented, he agreed. It's not his job to run the government day to day. So he is doing the nation a favor by taking up this burden of responsibility. And this burden of responsibility is limited to the establishment of an elected government. So, and the state of the country that Hasina left it in July 2024 was in such debilitating a state, or in a manner of speaking, in such ruins, that no single government, especially an interim government, has the capacity or the ability to build it back up from those ruins. I think the interim government is doing a relatively good job. Just like any government, it's got flaws as well. There are things I think it could have done better, but there are also many things that it has done better than maybe many other governments would. So there are those positives and negatives. So, but we can't really give it a scorecard in a manner of speaking. Also, competing with the world is not the job of the interim government. The job of the interim government is to establish an elected government, and I think, I hope they are going towards that with full gusto.
So we have got tremendously beautiful insights from you regarding the relations between India and Bangladesh. So I have one more question regarding, do you want to suggest anything to the interim government regarding tackling the propaganda that is being spreaded by the Indian media?
Yes, actually, again, I mean, during your questions, I did answer that. And when Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the Honorable Chief Advisor, invited us, the political parties, to have a discussion on this, I offered a charter of proposals related to, sort of like how to fight disinformation on social media, sort of global disinformation campaigns, how to do fact checking. That is on record. But the big points I've already covered. So yeah, we did give suggestions to the interim government through the Honorable Chief Advisor.
We have received your opinions, and those were really beautiful. Now, in the last segment, we want you to express your opinions and your call to the nation. What you want to say to the nation, to the mass people of Bangladesh through us?
Well, there's only one thing to say at this point. We have fought for a very long time to get back our most important right, the right to vote, the right to pick our own government. After a lot of struggle, after a lot of movements and fighting and deaths and sacrifices, we have come to the point where we are eagerly waiting to get back that right, the right to pick our own government. So my appeal to the population of this country, to the people of our country, is your next vote is going to be a very important one. Be very stingy in voting. Be very picky. Check your candidate, check the party, and only vote for the person that you think is going to be the best for the country in the future.
So now we have been in a very beautiful session with Mr. Bobby Hajjaj. So thank you very much. Thanks to our honorable guest, and stay tuned with 10 Minutes Fact Check.